Okay, let's see. Welcome and good evening to the Board of Selectmen meeting on Monday. Today is August 31st. I want to cry saying that. Oh my God. But as you can see, I did take advantage of what summer we got going on here. So let's start off with the invocation. Everyone stand, please.
Almighty God, we humbly come before you while acknowledging your sovereignty over all things. We thank you for your presence in this room. We also thank you for your blessings on our community. Father, as we grapple with and consider the task of governance within our community, we ask you to guide our thoughts and hearts. And Lord, we ask that you will grant to each of us wisdom, discernment, and understanding. Father, each of us that prays to you, prays in the manner in which we were taught, just as I was taught to pray in the name of your Son, Jesus the Christ. Thank you for hearing our prayer. Amen.
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 Stu, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. I have one change on the agenda tonight that was as a result of some information that wasn't passed. The Parcel F land donation discussion is not going to be discussed on the agenda tonight, so if there's anyone here that was here for that, we're going to have to pass over. Sure.
I couldn't hear. I think you gave a reason why, but I couldn't hear.
Yeah, so we're waiting on the Conservation Commission to provide us with an open space plan to present the long-term plan for us, so we can get an understanding of why we're even having this conversation, having the debate on that parcel. So they weren't prepared to show that to us tonight, so we've got to wait for them. All right. It will be posted, I'm not sure, just check the listing for the next Selectmen meetings. It'll be posted. They've got some preparation to do. It's in a draft form, but they'll be working on that for one of the next upcoming meetings. So I apologize that you guys didn't get the notice. It was last minute. Okay. All right, everyone get a chance to sign the warrant downstairs. If you haven't, after the meeting, please go ahead and sign that. We have some meeting minutes from the 8th and the 22nd of June, if anyone would like to make some motions to approve those.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the minutes from 6/8/15 as presented.
6/8.
Okay.
Second that.
So we have a motion and a second for the 6/8/2015 minutes. Any discussion?
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
I just, Janet, thank you for, at the end now, including there the documents that are used. I think that will cover us, and I'd ask about that. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Motion to approve minutes of 6/22/15 as presented.
Second.
We have a second on the 6/22 minutes. Any discussion?
Yes, on page 3, the last paragraph, Mr. Doss stated, has done some research and also asked if they are looking at Georgetown as Plan B, and are they not building in Havel? There's really no answer there. They replied that Georgetown is where they're going to build, and they have stopped their plans for building in Havel.
I'll add that in.
You got that, Janet?
Yep.
I have a motion to amend the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to amend the minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we need a vote on the original minutes with that amendment. All those in favor, any discussion?
Yeah, it's still, on the correspondences, I don't remember those, we read those letters, it just doesn't ring a bell with me.
What?
On the correspondences on the first page. guess maybe you stated that you received the letter, and, okay, so is it saying that you didn't read the letter, you were just making it known that you'd received these letters?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't read through the whole entire letters, but I just let everyone know what the context and
Okay.
spirit of the letters
That,
were.
maybe that's what's confusing, so you did mention them, but you didn't read them, I
Yep.
guess. Okay.
All right. All those approving the 6.2 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? All in favors? All approved? Unanimous, okay. All right. Next on our agenda, we have Karen Tyler from our Veteran Services Office. Karen, please come on up and welcome to Georgetown.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you this evening.
Thank you.
For the record, will you just state your name and address?
Sure, it's Karen Tyler, 136 Oak Street in Wakefield.
All right. So Karen has come on board just recently as the new district Veteran Services Director for, is it 9 towns?
8.
8 towns? Just 8, only
Just
8.
8.
I don't want to push it for you.
Exactly, because 9 would be over the top.
So I know as a board member on the Veteran Services Board, we're really excited and went through a very thorough selection process with you, and it was actually an easy decision. So, although the other gentlemen were just as well qualified, but you bring a lot to the table. Maybe you can share a little bit about your background and tell us a little bit about what you're excited to embark on.
Sure. So I'm an Army vet. I was in the service from 2001 to 2003. While I was in the service, I was a mental health specialist. I went in August of 2001, so I was in basic training when 9/11 happened. So a lot of what I was going to do had changed. I did a lot of pre-deployment screenings. I did one-on-one counseling. So I'm really happy to be working in veteran services as a civilian, because I saw everyone before they left and went to war, and so now when they're coming home, I get to service them again, and it's better to be on this side, because there's so many resources out there, and that's like my main thing that I want to get across, is that there are a lot of resources, so you can consider me, a liaison for, state and federal, local benefits and stuff. So I'm very thankful for that, because when I was in the Army, I was stationed in Germany, and so we didn't have as much resources. Everybody was, very specialized in what they did. And so to have all that support is very important.
Right. Well, welcome again, and we're lucky to have you here. So I know that our board hasn't necessarily given you necessarily the laundry list of what we would like to see you accomplish, but in the short term, what's going on?
Just trying to do a lot of outreach. We do have a benefits fair coming up that the American Legion is hosting, and that's going to take place on the 13th of September, and it's going to be in Hamilton, but it's open to all veterans. And I'm just trying to get out there. I'm talking with local colleges and other veteran services to be able to, find out what they can provide to the veterans of this district.
Great. All right.
So.
Guys, I'm sure you have a few comments or questions.
Yeah, well, thank you, welcome, and thank you for your service. What can we do as a board or as a town to improve things? Certainly, you must, coming in and doing an evaluation, I know it's really early, but,
Yep.
if there's anything we can do that we should be doing better, we'd like to know. At least I would.
Yeah, excellent. I'm glad you asked. There is something I would like.
Tell us.
So, the reason, one of the main reasons why I want, so each town I'm going to the Board of Selectmen meetings. Because you guys are the ones that are out there on the ground. You guys know your communities, you know your neighborhoods. The residents of this town are your friends, your family. So if you hear of any veterans needing help, or if you hear of people coming home, since 1990, when people are coming home, they're veterans. They have veteran status. And so especially, like younger people, a lot of people think of veterans as Vietnam and Korea, but when people come home, they're a veteran and there's a lot of services for them. So instead of just trying to do everything on your own, direct them towards me so that way I can share with them all the things that they are entitled to. So that's one of the main things is, you know, nieces and nephews and, you know, your neighbors' kids are coming home. So, and then also parents and grandparents and, you know, just to get the word out.
Great.
Sure. I think we can help you there.
Karen and I met, I don't know, a few weeks ago now at Senator Tarr's office, so we had a conversation then, and we certainly have extended the help of the local American Legion post here for assistance to you, should you need it. And I plan to make an appointment to come over and talk with you anyhow.
Excellent, yeah. I'm looking forward to just meeting people and getting out there. Outreach is important to me, so I want to make sure that I'm reaching the people, you know, that need me. And again, so my office is in Ipswich, but I'm more than happy to, you know, come here, you know, maybe setting up some office hours, or if there's people who can't get to Ipswich, I can come here and meet them, you know, at their homes or, you know, coffee shop or wherever. I just want to make sure that I'm able to get to everyone.
Great.
If I can go on that, Mr., that was gonna be my question for you. Yeah, perhaps we could help you here with some office hours. I know like representatives and that will hold office hours, and it's, sometimes I guess nobody shows up, but it's, you know, at least if you're there and you're putting out an effort and.
Exactly, yeah.
And so when your office is in Ipswich, you're gonna continue there, I guess that's.
Yep, so
Right.
that's where I'm based out of, but if you talk
That's
to people
really-
in town hall here, they've seen me.
It's fairly easy to reach, but I mean, if
Yeah.
people don't know where it is, yeah, you gotta go to the Ipswich up the hill and find Green Street.
Yep,
Yeah, so,
and I've also gone to senior centers and so,
yeah,
yeah.
excellent.
I think one of the important things that we should keep in mind, though, are widows
Yep,
and dependents of deceased veterans.
yep,
Because many times, they may be due benefits. I know I've talked to a couple of women here in Georgetown that,
Yeah.
well, my husband was a veteran, or do I? So I don't know, go over and see Karen
yep,
and see if you qualify for those.
yeah,
But that, we need to keep that in mind too. Because it makes a
Absolutely.
big difference.
yep,
Could make a big difference to a widow if she was qualified for Chapter 115 benefits.
yep, absolutely.
Gotcha. Karen, what's your plan in terms of getting around for Memorial Day and Veterans Days? I know there's one of you and there's 8 towns. And Doug
know.
is the commander down at the VFW.
American
American
Legion.
Legion. I keep getting those mixed up. He's gonna punch me one of these days. I know it. He does a really good job of making sure that we, you know, we get some, we make it inspirational for the veterans there. So,
Sure,
at some point, we'd love to have you come and show your face to the town
yep.
there. So, I know you've got 8 towns, and I guess we'll have to pick a lottery. So,
Everybody's trying to hose you the first seat.
yeah. So, well, anyone have anything else? We're like I said, we're so excited to have you. We're really excited that you are reaching out to the communities and coming here. As Dave and Gary said, that, you know, we'd love to see if we can set up some office hours here, get the word out, and we're open to helping in any way we can to make your induction into Georgetown as good as possible.
I appreciate that.
All right.
All right,
Thanks for
Thank
stopping
you.
by.
Thank
Karen.
you. Thank you.
We
Good luck.
appreciate that. Okay, let's see. Peter, we're gonna talk a little bit about snow and ice, so it's probably a good time for you to come on up. So there's, well, first of all, good evening.
Good evening.
I see you and your crew all over town every day, running around like crazy right now, so you're in the middle of, why don't you share with the public what the projects that you're working on, 'cause I think.
Currently, we're working on Central Street, replacing 2 culverts out there. One culvert's gonna be a 48-inch RCP reinforced concrete pipe, and the second one's gonna be a 10-by-7 box culvert. And we have to put put the water line underneath the culvert, so that's a process. That's why there's a water line above ground right now. So we have to basically cut the pipe and have it go underneath our new culverts. And we also have to cut 2 gas lines, a 4-inch and an 8-inch gas line, that they'll put stops on either end. The gas company will come out, cut the gas line, we'll put the culvert in, and they'll come back and put the gas line back on. So that's a big process, and it's gonna take some time that we close the road down for a 24-hour period, probably for, it could be 2 to 3 weeks, and it's gonna be tough out there, because Central Street takes a lot of traffic. So if you don't have to take Central Street, Route 97, for the next 4 weeks, I wouldn't, so.
You'll still have the detour down East Street and Pingree Farm?
But we
and all?
can't fit trucks down there.
Yeah.
We have the states helping us out by putting a message on the highway to let trucks know, but some trucks don't see it, and they still come down, so we have to hire more police officers to be further down the street, so they have a place to turn around the tractor trailers. It's going to be expensive with the police details, but we need them. When the road closes overnight, we may have to put a detail cop on each side overnight, because there's that many cars that go down Central Street. Another project that we're doing is on Thurlow Street. We closed Thurlow Street down today, and that will be closed down for about 45 days. We're replacing the culvert that's out there now. It's in real tough shape, and it would probably, we'd probably have to close the road down before we could have, come up with funds to pay for this. This is another FEMA mitigation grant, same as Central Street. So the town's received about $1.5 million from FEMA for these areas that flood, or we could lose the bridge or the culvert and not be able to pass it, pass the road. So we started that today, and that should be done in about 45 days, and that will be 2 10x7 box culverts out there. And we should have no flooding issues there or on Central Street. In the past, we've had to have Central Street down to 1 lane because of the flooding. After this is done, you won't need to. Tomorrow also, we're doing 2 test pits on West Main Street, and that's for the TIP grant, to get West Main Street on the TIP, which is another federal aid program that the town will receive about $5 million to redo West Main Street from Moulton Street to the Groveland line, and that includes replacing the culvert that's by the Power 97. And that's that's like the last area that floods. And after that is done, you should be able to drive through Georgetown without flooding. But I would stay away from Thurlow Street near the Parker River. And when the road is closed, that means for pedestrian or bike traffic also. It's not a good idea to try to move the fence, because when they really start going on Thurlow Street, which will probably be by the weekend, you won't be able to make it across the river. So,
Okay.
unless you can walk on water.
I've been trying. Gotcha.
Mr. Chair?
Sure.
Peter, the culvert by Power 97, wasn't that replaced or just repaired a number of years ago?
It was washed out, and they repaired it. There's a 12-inch gas main that goes right by there. That's why it's so important when we do have the road closed signs up there because of flooding, don't drive through it. Because if a car decides to float and go over toward that gas main, it's not gonna be good, because if the gas company has to shut down that gas main, it's gonna cost the person a lot of money. Never mind if it blows up, it's not gonna be good.
Right. And then the amount for the FEMA grants, is that enough to cover the cost of the work on Thurlow and Central?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Well, the town pays 25%. So the FEMA pays 75%, the town pays 25%, but that also includes in-kind services. So that means if I have a person out there overseeing what's going on, that comes out of that 25%. Materials that we use, work that we do out there, all comes out of that 25%.
Okay, great.
Yeah, great job getting all these culverts fixed and getting
I
those
mean, it's
FEMA
gonna be
grants.
a tough month and a half, like Central Street, if you don't have to drive down Central Street, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I know it's gonna be tough for, probably 45 days, but, I would stay off Central Street. Even, during the daytime, and when we close it down, it's not the way to go. Pingree Farm and East Street are tight roads, and we definitely can't get trucks through there, so.
Yeah.
So do you have a
We have a
rough
detour.
date? For when you wanna close that down?
It's already closed. Like, not right now. It's, right now, the contractor's been very good. He's working on the smaller culvert right now, and we just close it during the day
Okay.
and open it back up at night.
Yeah.
But, it could be as early as next week that that's gonna be closed. And I'll, try to post it. Maybe we'll do a blackboard to
Yeah,
let
do that
everybody know
blackboard, yeah.
and, put it on the, TV channel.
Quick question, on that blackboard, do people need to sign up for that, or are you taking,
Yes, it-
people that were already in the code red and transferring them?
It only takes the people that have, hard lines at their, copper lines or, telephones at their house.
Okay.
So it's about 3,000 something people.
Okay.
So if you want it on your cell phone, you have to get on the town's website and sign up for it.
Okay, good to know.
And this blackboard seems very good. I could, basically draw on a couple maps and show like Pingree Farm, East Street, Central Street, Nelson Street, Lanton Lane, all those roads, and then the message will only go out to those people. So, in the future, it can be down to an area.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that was the beauty of it, so,
Oh, you can segment it, okay, that's
yep.
good.
and I
Actually,
just got the, oh, sorry.
actually, I have a press release that's gonna be going out, it's, tomorrow, regarding, we're gonna be calling it Georgetown Connect.
I love it.
Yeah. The notice is, the release is, goes, the town of Georgetown has selected Blackboard Connect, the leading mass notification platform to facilitate important communication and emergency preparedness. That's where we aired
Right.
on the last one. And we sold it as just emergency services, notifications. But it allows us to do a lot more. Georgetown implemented Georgetown Connect so all town officials can stay connected to residents and efficiently provide them with notifications and directions in the event of community events or emergencies. By using Georgetown Connect, officials can record and send an unlimited number of personalized voice messages to homes. I'm sure not everybody's thrilled about that, but to homes, businesses, local agencies, and mobile phones in just minutes. The service also sends emails, text messages to mobile phones and posts on Facebook, RSS feeds, and Twitter channels. Messages can also be sent to TTY, TDD devices for people who are hearing impaired.
That's great.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Oh, that's good, that's good stuff.
Good
What
to
about
see.
Pond Street, what's up with Pond Street?
Pond Street, I just talked to the person that was low bid for the guardrail. He's gonna order the guardrail, and we're looking at sometime in October to do the guardrail. So we'll go in there the day before he comes in. We'll remove the fence. We'll leave the existing guardrail that's on the corner, and we'll remove the fence to save it. And then they'll come in the next day and replace the guardrail that's on the corner, and right down to. They should probably be able to do that in a day. So if not, it's gonna be, a day and a half. It doesn't take them long once they get going. They just pound the I-beams in, put the blocks on, and they have a couple guys behind them just following right behind them.
That's great.
So it's a quick operation. We're also gonna be paving, Pond Street from, say, Mill Street to the Groveland line. We're gonna be paving Jewett Street from where Jewett Street turns down to, I guess it's toward 111 Jewett Street. And we're gonna do from there to the Raleigh line, and we're gonna do a section of Jackman Street, this year. So that starts September 15th. We have the reclaiming crew come in. They basically rototill the road up, regrade it, compact it, and then the paving crew follows in behind them. So we're trying to do, some paving this year. We've done a lot of drainage work in the last 9 years, and now it's time to start getting these roads so they're drivable. So.
Great.
Pete, back to Pond Street for a minute. I know you had to build up the sides there with some riprap and all that. It's all gonna be done too?
Yes.
Okay.
That will be we're gonna go in there, we're gonna take out the fence, we're gonna grub out an area where they're gonna put the guardrail, put some, ground putt top there to try to keep the weeds down underneath the guardrail.
Yep.
And then we're gonna go in after they do the guardrail and fill in behind it with we'll put the silt fence and all that up before we start, and
Yeah,
so.
all right, good.
Good.
I may have some other questions not related, if, not to what we were just talking about, but,
Oh,
Throw them out while you came
could
by.
I ask
Yeah.
about Pond Street first?
Yeah.
I noticed that on the side of Pond Street going towards Groveland, the fence is already removed
Yep.
there.
We removed that section. We're gonna replace guardrail over the flume area, and we left some fence that turns around a corner, that will be guardrail. And then we're gonna go to, there's a telephone pole after the flume, we're gonna go to there, and then there won't be guardrail after that,
Right, thanks.
or fence.
Dave?
so I had two questions. Where are we, now that the school is done, where are we with Elm Street?
We're looking at, I'm gonna, schedule a meeting sometime in October to have the people that live on Elm Street or anybody that wants to come and look at the plans for Elm Street. By then, I'll know if it warrants having a street light at Elm and East Main Street. And, I don't think we need one on, Central and Elm. The way they configured the new design, you're not gonna be able to come off Central Street onto Elm at 50 miles an hour. You're gonna have to almost stop and turn. It's gonna be a T intersection.
Oh, I was gonna say, was it one of those S's?
No,
gonna
it
be
will
a
just,
T?
it will just turn, and you'll have to, you can look both ways and turn. The person turning onto the road will have to, slow down to turn. He won't be able to come off of Central Street doing 50 and,
Okay. That'll be good.
yep.
And then my second question was, looking at the policy that you gave us, and it relates to private roads. I I have an interest in private roads.
Yep.
So there is a policy that says private road snow removal policy. And it gives all the criteria for that, the highway department would plow those roads.
Well, hold on a second, let's take it back, we'll get to that. Let me
Okay.
just take a step backwards here and why we're going down this route here. So, as one of our, first of all, thank you very much for the updates and all the crazy projects you got going on. Busy. It's good to see you guys in action. So, Peter had come to me and asked if he could submit a snow plowing policy, because there have been a lot of questions and some issues in the past with residents in terms of where they're putting the snow, issues with, mailboxes or other things that the plows may put snow on. And I thought it was brilliant to, let's come out and come up with some standardization, so hence the reason why.
This is a draft?
This was
Oh,
drafted
okay. I
by
didn't say
by
draft,
Peter.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, so Peter, before we get into any questions on this, so what are some of the bigger issues and things that you hear all the time? You want to make sure that people understand what our policy should be out there.
We have to plow the roads. I know a lot of people go out there and they shovel their driveway or snow below their driveway, and then next thing you know, it seems like they get done and we come by. Well, we have to plow until the snow ends. And, sometimes we have to push back so you can, prepare for the next storm. It's not like we get one storm, we have to prepare for the next storm. So that's one issue we have of that, and, I don't know if it's in this policy yet, but, I know it's a bylaw that you're not supposed to put snow from your driveway out into the road. That happens a lot, that, we'll come by and treat a road, and then next thing you know, somebody either snow blows or shovels there or plows it out into the road. We just treated that. So when we go by to treat, we have a system that the snow ends, we go out and treat a road, and everybody knows that when they're, see that, we start treating, the private guys, that they start in on their back roads, getting them all squared away, so we can, if we have to put product on that. So, that's one issue. And then another issue is mailboxes. A lot of times, we don't hit the mailbox, the snow hits the mailbox. And, it's not our plows hitting it. It does happen sometimes, but it's not like we're out there looking to hit mailboxes. You look at how many mailboxes there are in town, and, we don't hit a lot of them, so.
You guys aren't driving bys with bats? Huh?
No, we don't need bats. The plow can do it itself.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want me
So-
plowing. Right. Okay, well, I don't know if you all had a chance to kind of look through this. I'm sure there's some questions. I just got a chance to kind of brief through it over the weekend, but I think we need another look at this to make sure we're not thinking of any unintended consequences or intended consequences here. But one, this was very thorough, so thank you for doing this. But questions, Dave, you already started with the conversation.
Yeah, well, from a process perspective, is this something that we adopt or the highway department adopts? I mean, is it an SOP issued by the selectmen? We don't really have any jurisdiction there, do we?
Technically, Peter is
Yeah, he's on his own.
autonomous when it comes to roads.
Right,
He's,
so,
this is a courtesy visit and he wants your input and,
okay,
but it's
so this
his-
is
it's
something he
his
would
call.
adopt, right, he would adopt. All right, so can we just talk about private roads for a minute? Because, I mean, this is, I get a lot of feedback about this, especially in the neighborhood that I live in and representing the condo association, but, how do you
Is it in your
determine?
deed that it shows that the town will never take care of your property, or
No.
the road?
No,
There's
never,
no deed?
no.
Is there anything with the planning department that says,
I'd have to go back to, I have the original permit that was issued, and I don't know what it says about plowing.
you know, cause I know of some roads that have been, not roads, I should say, they're basically driveways, or they're ways, but they say right in the deed, that we won't be plowing
It's not in
those.
my deed, I know that for a
Yeah.
fact. The question I have though is, who determines, and how do you determine, what's the criteria for plowing a private road?
Well, basically, the private roads that I plow are roads that haven't been accepted by the town yet. And, they've been plowed, before I got there. So, there's some roads that I would not wanna plow. I don't wanna plow.
Comment on that one?
And I could show you some roads that it's no fun plowing them. And that are private roads that, everybody owns to the center of the road.
Right.
And it was, it's not like I can just, okay, geez, I just got elected, I got the job, and I just stopped plowing those roads.
Right.
So, and I know that I've come to the selectmen before in the past about these private roads, and you have voted on it to keep on plowing them.
And
Right.
If I
So-
can comment
Well,
on that?
well, again, I'm just back to, so the answer is, there is no real criteria. In other words, it's a safety issue, or it leads to an accepted road that should be plowed. There's no real criteria there.
I don't plow any roads that won't be accepted by the town.
That's been the basic criteria.
That's, like, there's a road off of Warren Street that we don't plow, it's private, and there's 3 or 4 houses on it. There's, 3 houses on a road on North Street that I don't plow. And there's 2 on another road that I don't plow. There's a ton of, I don't know if they're paper streets, but there's probably 12 streets on Thurlow Street that are basically people's driveways that I don't plow.
So-
And there's, like, I have a list of roads that are town accepted roads,
Mm-hmm.
town roads that are unaccepted but could be accepted, and I have a list of private roads, and I don't plow private roads.
Okay, so what's the could be accepted criteria?
I don't know. I'm almost positive that when they came to the town with your development, they said the town wouldn't have to take care of this.
Yeah, well,
So that would be something that you'd have to look into with the planning board and find out
The
exactly what that wording is.
Right.
So if it says never,
Okay.
and I'll tell you right now, and it's happened in the past, if there's an emergency anywhere,
Right.
we're gonna
made
get
it
there,
perfectly
and
clear.
we're gonna
Right.
do the driveway, we're gonna shovel the walkway,
Right.
and we're gonna make it safe for people, so.
No, we've communicated each
Yep.
storm and made sure that
Yep,
if,
and it's not just your street, it is anywhere,
right,
so,
I understand, all right. Because it's not just our development, I hear from other people that
Yep.
say, hey, why are we doing roads that are private?
well,
You know.
that's something that I think would have to be talked with the planning board.
Okay, thank you.
So, any other questions or comments
If I
before?
may, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
It- This was the only thing that I saw that I had questions on. Most of the other stuff is great, and a lot of it, you've been in front of us and stated how you do things, and it sort of looks like you've just got it written down. But that was one of my questions, and you remembered, you brought it up, you remembered, you used to come in front of us yearly when I first started, and you'd bring a list, I don't know whether you put them together or the board put them together.
Yep.
And we would give you approval to do those streets, and I don't know if you perhaps wanna put that back in here, and whether we should continue doing that, so at least you've got, somebody has said, listen, you've got the okay to do these.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know
And,
how
and
that got dropped, but it appears to have.
putting this in writing, it was Sandy Garrity's idea, so I just wanna give credit where it's due. So this was Sandy's idea.
Oh, we're not gonna accept that.
All right, it was mine.
Is there any teeth in this? And the only thing is there anything enforceable here?
The only thing that I know enforceable is putting snow in the road.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically, something that people could, and we don't try hit mailboxes,
Oh, yeah.
If we fix a mailbox that was, hit, if we hit it, we try to put it behind something so it doesn't get hit again, so.
If I can, one other question, and it's like, one of the things you've gotten here, Peter, is how can you help? And so I guess, is this going up on your website or the
It
town's
could,
website?
yep.
So that, cause, yeah, people might see it and.
Storm drains, the fire hydrants.
Yeah,
So, so if I make a suggestion, if this is going up on your website, on this private road issue, I strongly suggest that there's more language about the criteria and who determines, and mention the planning board in there, if a development was originally, a permit was originally excluded, any services, because we're opening up a whole can of worms for a lot of people that are gonna be coming up here, or calling you, and say, why aren't you doing our roads? So maybe that piece, like to Gary's point, who approves it, a private way to
we
be
used
done?
to do it.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've done them,
Right.
yeah, I think
We
some more.
continue to do it. I know there's
Yeah.
private roads that are never going to be, were never intended to be accepted by the town, and we just wanna make sure the folks that live
Yeah,
on
we
those
don't wanna
communities.
just stop doing something that you've been doing for 50 years, right? So that's.
Well,
that's-
so to be fair to that is, I'm not saying you just cut it. What what I would suggest is that if there's another private way that is under the same criteria as the other private way, and then you either stop doing both or you do both. Right, to be fair. And, I'd rather phase it out than phase it in, personally, but, I mean, it's just equitable, right? I mean,
When the planning board asked for my feedback on some of these common driveways that may have 3 houses on them, I wanna make sure that it's clear that we're not gonna be plowing them.
Yep.
Cause it's, first of all, there's no place to put snow. So, and it's not, some of these roads that are private, it's not easy, that I see when they put a new street or a new, common driveway, and there's no place to put the snow.
Yeah, so, I agree with Dave. If you can just get the planning board and yourself, and whatever we can do to help, just to tighten that.
Okay.
Clarify that language there,
Yep.
so people understand what exactly we're considering plowing for private roads. All right. Any other questions on this? All right, now since you're still here, we got 2 other things. The first is the snow and ice removal account deficit that I'd like to get your input as well from that. So, Mike, why don't you give us an update on what our options are and what our balance is and what the rest of the other factors that we need to take into consideration to decide what to do about that debt we owe.
I mean, do we have to pay it now? The snow's all melted.
What snow?
Yeah, let's not.
Yes, we do have to pay it. This is an update from a spreadsheet I gave you back in July. And I also have an email attached with our accounting consultant regarding the amortization spreadsheet, which is attached to the back. Our total deficit, that hasn't changed since July, is $404,853. We are allowed to take credit for the FEMA reimbursement that we haven't received yet. I tried to get a handle on when we might receive it, and FEMA said from 2 to 8 weeks. If there is no problems with it. They always put that qualifier. So we're eligible for 75% of our, of the certified storm costs of a 48-hour period, which was during the first blizzard we had of the three. Our total cost, allowable cost, was $172,696. So 75% of that is the 129,522. So that will mean our net deficit is 275,331. That's what we owe to make up the deficit. We have two options, and they both have to be done at a fall town meeting. We can take the whole amount of free cash that we have, 385,154, and pay the entire 275,331. That will leave us with $109,823 in free cash. Or we can amortize it over a 3-year period. We can do it also over a 2-year period. Whatever we decide, it has to be an equal amount for 2 years or 3 years. So if we choose to do it over a 3-year period, we would be paying $91,777 a year for the next 3 years. But that would leave us this year with $293,377 in free cash, almost $400,000, $300,000. We won't have our new free cash certified till sometime this month, hopefully. The DOR, Division of Local Services, had massive amounts of early retirements. I think 25 people from there retired, one of which was our rep that certifies our free cash. And they haven't replaced them. They haven't replaced anybody of those 25 people yet. They're in the hiring process, but I don't even know how many people there. I mean, they did this to cut everybody's budget, so they're not going to replace everybody. So based on our estimates of free cash, and it's we've been pretty accurate over the last several years, but it looks like our free cash this year, our new certified free cash, is going to be about $100,000. That's it. So if we pay the whole thing, we'll have about $210,000 left in free cash. And if we amortize it, we'll have close to $400,000 in free cash. Double. And when I give you an update on the senior center, I think everybody was hoping that we'd have enough free cash to pay for that. And as we stand now, we definitely won't. It's going to be more than $400,000. So, once again, you don't have to make up that decision right now, but as a matter of fact, it's a town meeting vote. You don't really get to decide. I mean, there's going to be a warrant article. You get to write the warrant article, but in the letter, in the attached, the laws say that the local appropriating authority must vote to set up the amortization schedule. The local appropriating authority is town meeting.
Right. So, Mike, have you had a chance to speak with the Finance Advisory Committee on this?
No.
Have they discussed this yet? I guess that's the other.
I basically gave them the same update,
Yeah.
not with the brand-new figures. They haven't met since June, and they're gonna be meeting within the next 2 weeks. So we're gonna have that conversation, and they meet in September.
Gotcha.
Mike, quick question. So, free cash is really gonna be 485, right? 385 plus 100? Because this 385 carries over.
Yes.
So our free cash will be 485 when we make this decision, the certified free cash. Geez, we're only going up 100,000. In the past, we've gone up a lot more.
That's true. And we have been cutting the budget,
That's it. Refining the numbers and
you know,
stuff.
and been very conservative. And I've been saying for 2 or 3 years now that don't count on free cash. You know, we had about just over $200,000 in unspent expenses. The departments turned back that much money. But the revenues fell short by $100,000 in our estimation. Our local revenues were all on target. Matter of fact, they were all over. But what happened, we still collected 99% of the taxes. But the 99%, because our taxable income, our taxes have gone up over the years, 99% of 14 million is different than 99% of 16 million. So the amount uncollected, even though the percentage is the same, the dollar amount is significantly different.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm not sure what we really want to discuss. I'd like to get a recommendation from the Finance and Advisory Committee, and we've got to get through some of the rest of the budget items leading up to the fall town meeting and talk about the senior center as well before we make a decision on this. Any other questions on this? No? Okay. Mike, thanks for the update.
You're welcome.
I'm not sure about the actual news itself, but we appreciate the update.
Don't shoot the messenger.
All right, and so, so Peter's here also to talk about all the work that he has done in addition to his primary and secondary duties as a highway surveyor. I've noticed over the years that Peter has been there on some of these projects that are outside of the highway department's purview, if you will, like the non-highway projects. And while we ask his team that he manages to help and pay them overtime and a half for these types of projects, I didn't think it was fair that Peter was there directing everyone else who's getting paid. Now, I know we're all volunteers, and we all help out in some way, but I at least wanted to have the conversation to talk about Peter's compensation for a second. And maybe, Peter, you can probably do a better job of explaining all the work that you've been doing above and beyond what we require you to do as a highway surveyor in town. These projects that you have found creative ways to reduce the costs overall and come in and either project manage and get your hands in the ditches as well to help out. You've done just an incredible job over the years, but I want to make sure that we're thinking about equity for you.
Most of the projects come under the CPC, so it would be Harry Murch Park, the monument that we have done over out front here. You know, we did some work for the Camp Dennison, so it wouldn't be anything related to highway. It would just be, you know, these CPC projects that are already funded. You know, one of the projects coming up is gonna be removing the fence out here in front of Town Hall and replacing it with the trees or shrubs. So, you know, I don't get compensated for that. It's, you know, like I know Harry Murch Park, I spent, you know, a lot of weekends there and a lot of time after 3, you know, working on that. And we saved the town, well, it was CPC funds, but we saved the town a lot of money, you know, doing it in-house, so.
Yeah, so so there's a little bit of the legalese here that we have to all consider. One, according to our town council, the position of highway surveyor is not entitled to overtime. right? So we all understand that. But, you know, the question is what can, and if we could do something, and should we decide to help it out, compensate you on some of these other projects that aren't specific to the highway department, how could we possibly do that? And it could be built in, you know, I'm just throwing it out there, and Mike, I probably need some help with you on that. So if there were a particular CPC project that would go out to bid, and the highway department took a portion of that, or managed it, or actually did some of the work for it, could the highway surveyor, or any position like that in town, that's not entitled under overtime, be compensated by the project itself, or any other way to do this? Before we decide that, should we, the other question is, can we?
Well, if it's related to his primary duty, and then that's the main issue. If you consider it related to his primary duty, which is road repairs and road construction, then that's a problem. Problem in two ways. As you stated, the FLSA, Fair Labor Standard Act, does not allow exempt or salaried people to be paid overtime.
Right.
That doesn't mean the board can choose to pay overtime or additional salary beyond what is required by the FLSA. The kicker is, if you're gonna pay him more than what was appropriated at the annual town meeting, it has to be approved at a special town meeting by a 2/3 vote, because he is, not because he's exempt, but because he's an elected official.
Right. So there's another way to get around this, and this is to provide a performance increase commensurate to the work that you're doing out there. So just put it into the salary, and as you continue to do these things, there's another option. I'm just saying that the how-to, as opposed to the should we. But you know, I look at a project. Let's take Harry March Park for instance, Mike. I don't know how it's defined in terms of, is it associated with his primary duties doing the work at Harry March Park? What exactly did you do down there? I guess that's what did you and your crew do down there?
We removed all the trees. We brought material in to raise up the area because it was like a bowl. We hired a contractor to come in and do the walkway across. We, purchased the trees. We planted the trees. We, got the soil prepped for, hydroseed, had it hydroseeded, had a company come in and do the sprinkler system. We used the water that was existing, the cistern that's underground, that waters that whole area, so it's not town water, it's, through the cistern. So, there was a lot of work that we did there, and, we had to, have a fence company come in and put a temporary fence up while we're doing the work in there, and so it was, a lot of work.
So Mike, the question that I would need to find out from our attorneys, is that particular type of work considered a primary duty of a highway surveyor? Whether you know the answer or not, I don't know, but I think that would be a type of question that we would. And what other types of projects? It's almost like this. We don't have to get on that list, but
Camp Dennison, that was a drainage thing that we did out there, but that was on overtime through CPC.
Yep.
In the conservation, that was part of there, and then this monument out here,
Yep.
that we did that over. We put underground electrical. Soon there'll be a sprinkler system, and we'll get the weeds to grass, and
Yep.
it will look nice. The lighting, and we did the brick around the monument so people could actually go up and look at it and see what's on it instead of being covered with shrubs. So, and then when we go out here and take the fence down and grub out the area and plant the shrubs along the fence here, that will be, a CPC project.
right,
So,
right.
It doesn't have anything to do with the funding, though. It has to do with the actual work done. Now,
Yep.
drainage is part, I think everybody
Yes.
agree, that's part of his primary duties, whether it's road drainage or some of the other drainage. There'd be a question whether landscaping is part of the primary duties. You know, and like, you know, it's not my, there, you know, I give an opinion, but it's not my decision.
It's not the decision, it's
Yeah.
the opinion from the legal
Well,
opinion.
I'd say landscaping is part of the primary duties.
Okay.
The landscape highways and roads and other properties, you know, on regular time.
We don't do too much landscape construction during regular time.
Okay.
You know, we do the maintenance, but we don't do much construction.
Mr. Chairman, I have some questions.
Go ahead, Dave.
Who sets the salary? Is it FinCom in the budget?
Yes,
Okay.
primarily, that's
And
how
then that
it's
goes
set.
to the voters. We really don't have much of a say in that particular issue, right?
Well, you
We
you
could
don't
suggest.
have authorization.
Right.
But,
Okay.
you know,
We
you're
can-
part of the budget process.
Right, and in the job description from a personnel perspective, it says that he's expected to work 40 hours a week like all of the department heads. Is that what the job description says?
I haven't reviewed the job description lately, but I don't know if it says 40 hours or,
I mean, I think that's step one.
I mean,
is to
it's
take a look
assumed,
at that.
it's I think it's safe to assume that it's a minimum of 40-hour-a-week job.
Right, and if somebody puts in 60 hours, what do we do? I mean,
Well, the Supreme Court's probably gonna decide that in the
Yeah,
next
that's
year or two.
right.
But I'd say, you know, just about every department head puts in more than 40 hours.
okay.
I'm not looking to be compensated for anything to do with the highway. I'm looking to be compensated for, you know, something that's outside that, you know, we're saving the town a boatload of money having the highway department do it.
Well, I'm leading
And-
somewhere with this. So my next question is, no different than the Affordable Housing Trust hires Howard for 10 hours a week. And we pay, you know, out of our funds
That's
for
right.
Howard
That's why
services
it'd
for
be
10 hours a week.
project by
So
project.
why couldn't CPC hire Peter for a particular project at a particular time for 10 hours a week? Is it because he's an elected official?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah,
but
I mean, that's the way to
worth-
look- that
It's
way I
worth
would look
looking
at
at that. Maybe
No
the
difference.
source of funds does have.
Yeah, it's no different than us hiring Howard. Howard's an appointed
Yep.
position, but he's not elected. So I think, so if there's this major project the CPC is gonna do, and it's outside of the day-to-day operations, and they're hiring Peter separately, just like, I know there's employees here that work in, I mean, one of your employees, right, works, do you have one employee that works in town hall and then also works for you so many hours a week too?
Yes.
No different. So if another department or another committee that has the authority to expend funds, why couldn't that be part of the project? You know, that, just like we do at Howard, and any other, I mean, is it Janet that works in your, she's an elected official also, she's working in another department, you know, in another area, so why couldn't it be looked at? That's the way I would
Outside
approach
of
it.
regular duties, though.
Well, bingo,
Yeah.
you know, outside of regular duty. So these projects, you know, would be outside of the 40 hours that Peter works on his regular job. I mean,
Most of the CPC projects, because that's how we mostly get the funding is, you know, they don't do it during work time. They do it after work and weekends.
right, well, there you go. I mean, why
Right.
couldn't they just do it the same way that we do it with other employees?
Yeah, it sounds like a
Yeah, I think,
possible winner.
yeah, so we're not gonna just decide this tonight, and we don't have to go too deep on this. I wanted to at least start that
Yep.
conversation as we get close to budget season here. I think we got some legal stuff that we can try to figure out. The other thing is just we gotta make sure that if we do this for Peter, what are the other individuals in town that may have any type of, you know, say, I do the same thing, and I just wanna make sure that we're not setting a precedent that we can't fulfill if someone else comes in and says the same thing. So we gotta do a little bit of homework to do that on our end as well.
Mr. Chair, could I just?
Yeah.
Peter, I just wanted some does the end of your title still include tree warden?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's a stipend,
Yeah,
so,
I was just curious.
yep.
Right. Okay. Do we need you for anything else?
Is there anything, do I have to be here for
Donation account.
the donation account?
Might as well take it up.
I
Sure.
took Stu's advice and we have somebody in, that they pay us, well, they haven't paid us yet, but they will, on the, clothing that is dropped off at the highway department.
Sure.
So we have 3 bins down there now. We're gonna get a vendor in there for books. And we don't have a revolving account anymore, so Mike suggested a donation account to put this money into. And whatever way you guys wanna word it, you know, if I have to go through the selectmen before I spend any money, that's fine with me. So, you know, it's not like I'm gonna go and spend the money on, you know, a cookout for the highway department. We're looking to spend the money on, you know, some type of equipment that we may be able to afford with the, because who knows how much money we're gonna get. The way some of these people were talking, the amount of clothing that comes in there is, you know, 1,000 pounds a week at 8 cents a pound. So, you know, who knows, it could add up and maybe buy another truck, so.
All right. So,
Not most, but several other, I mean, the Council on Aging has a donation fund, the fire department has one, the police department has one.
the Historic Commission's here tonight to get one.
Right.
I got you. No, this makes sense. You need a vehicle to actually take in gifts and be able
Kept the
to,
road machinery account.
you know.
That's not a donation.
Okay, so will you help us work through that process to establish a donation account?
Well, I think you can just make a motion and then, you know, Mary will set it up.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we authorize a donation account to be created for the highway department.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? The only question I have is, go ahead, you raise your hand before I say.
Not seeing it, I don't know how I'm gonna vote on it. I mean, at least the other one, we got something that's in front of us, so.
Well, we can create the account. We still have to put the stipulations in how it's going to be
She'll get back to us, right?
spent. Right.
With the town accountant or treasurer will get back to us on that, on what the parameters
Well,
are to vote on.
It's up to you. The other ones don't have parameters. It's up to the department head.
And those are audited by our Powers and Sullivan,
Yes,
part of the audit.
yes.
So I'm fine with it. I mean, but there's maximums that can be put in there before the state will say it becomes something else. So if Peter all of a sudden has donations at $30,000, it's not really a donation account. There's some limits there, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Was it rare? Okay.
I don't think so.
I thought there were.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I have no problem with it. I'm sure Peter will handle it quite well.
I guess the donations start to run in the tens of thousands, and
You're gonna wanna know why.
it's a good problem to have, okay? We'll figure out that.
Better that way than the other.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yay.
Okay, 4 ayes, 1 nay, motion carries. You got your donation account?
Thank you.
I have a quarter or something on there. I can start, I can start there.
I
All
wish I
right,
had a
Pete.
hat, I'd have you pass, I'd pass the hat. Thank you.
See you later, thanks.
Peter, we'll be in touch with you on your, on this whole compensation thing, okay? All right, thanks very
Have a good
much,
night.
appreciate it. Okay, what is next? Oh, James is here, right? Wanna come down on the Historic Commission? All right. Should be pretty quick.
I actually wasn't expecting to come up, so.
Well, you were the,
In the hot seat.
I could just switch over and make it easy to talk to myself,
Sure.
but since you're here. So you're, in all faith here, I am on the Historic Commission, so whatever we're asking for, I'm part of that ask here too. So the Historic Commission is looking to put together a tax exempt donation account, much like what Peter was just here for. So James, maybe you can talk a little bit about what's going on and what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think that you might know a little more about that. I mean, I've been on this Georgetown Historical Commission for 9 years, since 2006, and we work, as Peter Durkee just mentioned, a lot of projects in the town, and we look forward to moving forward and trying to create more financially sound pockets of money. So
Yeah, so the Historic Commission, well, thanks for sharing this. So the Historic Commission's budget is, annual budget is $500.
Right.
And $500 to maintain these assets in town is woefully inadequate. I think that I took a tour with a few of the members, and I saw just some poorly maintained stuff, and it really comes down to funding. And I'm worried about the future of the town in terms of spending more money on capital projects that we can't maintain. And this is one of the reasons why the Georgetown Historic Commission is trying to get some donation funds to help maintain. And we'll be coming to the Board of Selectmen to see if we can increase that annual budget from $500 to something that's more appropriate. These guys are running a lot of projects that need maintenance on a shoestring budget, and they're spending some good amount of capital on some worthy causes that most of this money is coming from CPC, and it's imperative that we maintain it. So this gives a vehicle to do that.
Yeah, so some of our projects, just to enlighten the subject, are, for example, the rehabilitation of Harry Murch Park or Union Cemetery, or the new park, or the digitization of our town documents. And some of these projects that I just mentioned are recurring projects, and it's not administratively feasible always, or the best, the most efficient method of obtaining additional funds is always going to the going back to town meeting. So
Right. Yeah, and we don't want to get in the business of restoration. We'd like to maintain these things. It's basically just letting them deteriorate to a point where they have to be replaced, and that's not where we want to go. So anyhow, if I get a motion to establish a special tax exempt donation account for the Georgetown Historic Commission, that'd be great.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion?
This is for the, because I had talked to Jonette, this is primarily for the maintenance of the assets that we have.
correct.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Now, may I add something here about Historic Commission?
Sure.
You know, the barn at 304 Central Street,
Okay.
Chris Comiskey had put something out on Facebook, and apparently there's been a gentleman from New Hampshire that is willing to take that barn apart and move it up to New Hampshire so that it will not be destroyed.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Excellent.
fabulous news.
We met with him Saturday morning at the barn, and he and his wife are going in this together to hopefully do this, but it's not etched in stone. They're gonna get back to us within a couple of days to determine whether or not it's feasible for them. So, crossing my fingers there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Are they contractors?
Good.
Or
No,
background
the
in that?
gentleman, I don't know what his wife does, but he works for an electronics components distributor. So, yeah, I said,
Well, the power.
they love they're not historic buffs either. They're looking for something that's actually practical to use that has a historical significance too, so.
Wow.
I mean, they'll actually put it to use, which is great.
Also showing the power of Facebook.
Yeah, interesting.
That's true.
She got an inquiry within days of posting that.
That's great.
Excellent.
Facebook, all right.
That'd be great if we can save
Well,
that.
in
Alright.
some instances.
I know. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate you coming in. Okay, let's see. We have, I guess let's go to the selectmen's report here. Oh, senior center update, sorry. Yes, I don't know if I want this.
No, you don't.
Is this all one document?
No, take one and pass it on, please.
All right, Mike.
Never easy.
We tasked you to help with putting together some idea of what the cost would be, and of building out the senior center, so.
All right, wait a minute, there's some stuff missing here, hold on. You guys
Oh.
are missing the bond stuff. Is there two of those there, Gary? The ones with the picture on it?
Sorry, I can share.
Oh, the bonds were probably not attached
Yeah,
in
there we go.
separate.
one.
Okay.
Okay. We went out to bid on July 1. After working with Colleen and her Council on Aging, Council on Aging Board, with the help also of Ed Desjardins, retired architect. So we put together the scope of work and went out to bid. We had I think I've already reported, we had a mandatory site visit, 4 firms, probably 20 firms pulled the RFP off of our site. 4 came to the meeting and 2 actually submitted RFQs, requests for qualifications. In doing so, because the amount was below $100,000, at least we thought it was, we didn't have to go that route, but we felt it was the best way to go. As I said, we got 2 RFQs, and RFQs, especially when you're hiring engineers and architects and other types of professionals, are quality-based. They're not dollar-based. It's not necessarily the lowest bidder. They submit 2 proposals, one the qualifications and one the dollar amount. And the committee that was made up of myself, Ed, Colleen, and one of Colleen's board members reviewed the submittals and scored them based on objective criteria. They had to have, if they did 5 senior centers, they got most, they got the best they
Weighting.
could. Yeah.
Right, the weighting was
It
heavy.
was weighted, and if they only had 1 or none, so we graded the 2 proposals that way, and it was quite evident that, one was much more highly advantageous than the other. So but when they submitted the dollar amount, because they charge based on the cost of construction, they get a percentage of the construction costs. That's how the architects get paid. That's how we paid DRA for the school. So it's like, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? So they said, here's our percentages based on the Architects Institute of how the best practices. And it's about 10%, give or take. So in order for us to come to a cost for the design portion, they had to take our scope and send it to a cost estimator. And the cost estimator came back all in at $477,000. And that would mean their fee would be $47,000. We only have 45 appropriated. And I told them that. I said, if we go ahead with this, you're gonna have to do it for 45. He said, well, I'd probably lose money on the deal. And so might the contractors, because they consider this a very small job. So when we got that 477, we met with them and we started paring it back. As you can see, this was the plan that the architect came up with in order to send it out to the contractor for the estimates, not the contractor, for an estimating company. Originally, we were gonna have small offices in each one of the four rooms on the top of the page, and they bid it by square footage. So they were counting all 900 square feet in that room. So we said, okay, and Colleen agreed that, you know, if they just put 3 offices in one of those offices, we'd cut out, you know, 2,700 square feet of contracting costs. So we thought we'd save a lot of money there. Where we, and this was at the architect's recommendation. You've all been through that section of Pearlie, and it had that one separate entrance. Well, after investigating by the architect, there used to be another entrance right there. And right now, it's covered by trash bins. And he suggested, and the committee agreed, that it would be better to have a separate handicap accessible, safe entrance. And it would, instead of entering into the hallway, would actually enter into their offices. So they would have a receptionist there to greet them. They'd know who was coming in the building. It would be better security. So we said, yeah, okay, let's, you know, add that, tell us what it would cost. That's when the price, you know, we included that, but took away the other things. And we said, oh, by the way, there's no air conditioning in there. We really, for the seniors, felt we needed air conditioning. And the first time through, they came out with over $42,000 in air conditioning costs. So we said, well, you know, we can't afford that. Take that out. That front entrance and going through into the reception area, that's gonna add about $100,000 to the project. You know, I talked it over with Colleen, and we're really facing about $500,000 with design and construction. That's why I gave you a debt schedule. If you know, we certainly don't have the free cash to do it, we could bond it and make it debt excluded, and then pay it off over a 10-year period if we go with that design. That's up to you. I think we really need to go to Plan B. And, you know, if we need air conditioning, you know, we go back to our original plan, you know, see if Whittier can send some students down and build out the offices. We can buy those Mitsubishi wall ACs. I talked to the architect about them. He said they won't handle that square footage. Even if they couldn't handle it, you know, totally, I think, you know, spending a couple $1,000s each, then actually if he air conditioned the whole area, including the hallway and the restrooms, which I don't think is necessary, but it would add $100,000 to the cost. So after we paired everything off and added back in, it was higher than when we started. So it's been a real eye-opener. And, yeah, we haven't signed a contract, you haven't signed the contract. I haven't given him a notice to proceed, all I did was tell him he had the most advantageous proposal. And we had to meet, and he had to do preliminary drawings to come up with a cost. So that's where we're at. But I couldn't recommend spending $500,000 that we don't have.
So what do you need? You need a vote from this board tonight to approve the design at $45,000?
No, that's already been approved, that we only have, you know, the town meeting approved that. I'm telling you that if we go with these plans and that design, and this design, it's gonna cost $500,000 to implement.
Without air conditioning.
No, with air, yeah, no, with air conditioning.
Okay.
It would be $500,000.
I think we say, you went, just that's what I was trying to hear, you went from 400,000, tried to scale it down, but ended up at 500,000.
Yeah, because he didn't include the air conditioning in all the rooms. He just included it in the office and those, in the staff office and the 3 offices. That was 46,000. But he was planning on doing it through central air conditioning, which doesn't exist there. So you'd have to do the ductwork and everything else.
Separate units, right?
So, Mike, what rooms are included in this? If you're looking at it, where it says classroom, that stays with Pearlie?
Correct.
Those were the two that we would get
Yeah,
later
she's
on.
using as a technology center or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, and a storage area for the.
Where it says with
wood
each,
shop.
yeah.
I think what you're looking at is, you can see the room that they put the 3 offices in,
Right.
and then a lot of work at the entryway, because I think they're changing that a lot, putting up petitions and several offices and doorways in there.
Well, he was gonna pour a whole new pad. The pad there is sufficient. He doesn't need to pour a pad. And the awning is still there. There wouldn't be a need for a new awning. You'd need a new doorway. The doorway was $40,000.
Well, I've made my stance on this public, I'm pretty vocal and pretty public, We spent 40, well, just call it 40.
Call it $60 million in new schools.
We spent, $44 million on a school. We could certainly spend $500,000 and do this right. And also have those 2 classrooms in our agreement with the school department that at sunset clause, that those will get turned over at some point in time in the near future. I want, a date on that. If this costs us $500,000 to do it right for our seniors, I think the town should get totally behind it. Now, so one question I have, and this maybe, you may not know this number, Mike, but how many households are in the town paying taxes? Is it about 3,000 or so?
Well, there's about 3,200 parcels of land.
Okay.
Most of them are.
So based on that,
Residential.
based on a $50,000 payment on the bond, you're looking at a tax, on average, if you take the 50,000 divided by 3,200, it's about $15 a year increase in total tax bill, on average. Some people, that'd be 45, people with bigger houses, maybe 60, some people maybe 15, so. That's the scope of this, when we're talking about spending $500,000. We need to do this for our seniors, we need to do it right. Now, I'm all behind it, so, looking at the bond schedule, we have anything major falling off? I know that the ladder truck in a couple of years, but we probably need another truck to replace it, so that, you can't really count on that. Anything else that, we had some long-term debt that's fallen off that would help this?
There's a debt excluded school bond that falls off in 18.
Okay.
We're paying about $250,000 a year on that. It's $250,000, but it's debt excluded. But
Right, I understand, but still, taking a look at things, $500,000, it is a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but we need to do this. There's no doubt in my mind. As long as it's right, you know what I mean? I don't want to just spend money to say we have a great senior center, but it sounds to me like you guys have looked at everything, and Ed's been on top of this too with the committee, and, I say that if it's $500,000, it's $500,000. It needs to be done.
I kind of concur with Dave. I think if we do it right, because we'll probably come back to the drawing board and try to request some of those things that we couldn't do up front later, sometime later. I guess the question is, when we're designing this, those 2 other classrooms that we hope are going to be at some point turned over to the senior center, whatever we design, can we just make sure that it's modular and those could be added into, especially the HVAC?
Yes, that's,
Stub it.
yeah, we can do that.
Go ahead, Doug.
First, we need a senior center. Tonight, we were talking about Elm Street, and as far as I know, we have no clue where that cost is going to come from. You know, where the money to do that is gonna come from. And the last number I heard was like $2 million, potentially. So we're talking about more spending there. I want a senior center, I'm a senior citizen. It seems to me $500,000 for that space is too high. And I'd really like I'll sit with Carol, or somebody to find out why the expense is that much. I understand about redoing the whole entryway.
You mean Colleen, not Carol?
Yeah, Colleen. And then I don't ever remember Carol mentioning that she would turn over those 2 classrooms. Did she?
Yeah, but she's
At one
not,
point?
she's, I will tell you, the school committee is not going to just say by this date. They're going to look at the requirements on their needs
Right.
first, and if they can give it up, and they will do it at that time, but they've already made that clear.
Yeah, and, well,
And I know, Dave, you ever.
I'm
you know,
not,
you
I'm not
want a
gonna
hard-
vote for it
you
unless
want-
there's some type of
want a hard
date.
date on it, but
Yep.
and maybe after this year, they'll realize that the space is not critical for them and they can make other space, but it's up to them. I mean, we can influence them, but it's their
I'm just
building.
more concerned, we just spent roughly, rounding up, 60 million, call it $56 million on school buildings. And we're looking at maybe $2 million for Elm Street, and we're looking at another $500,000 for a senior center. And we just keep wanting to spend, and impact the amount of tax people are paying. I think they're saturated with taxes right now. And we've been, the years I've been watching these proceedings, we've been cutting budgets, and at some point, it gets to a point to where you go, something's gonna happen, and we're gonna have this money. I don't know, it just seems to me, we've already burdened the taxpayer enough in a short-term period of time. We should be able to find a way to do a senior center, even if we had to do it in phases, as we had the money to do it.
I think that we should have, a set of options here. If you get a senior center with the way it is right now, with some work done to it, for X, if they want air conditioning, it's Y, and if they want a new entrance and all the other stuff, it's Z. There's a $300,000, a $400,000, and a $500,000 option. And we could possibly fund it, a portion of it with any free cash we have, even if it's $50,000. But, look, at the end of the day, it's money. I mean, if we want a senior center, we're gonna have to pay for it. Unless there's another solution I'm missing.
Chickens have come to roost, gentlemen. These
And I-
projects have been left by the wayside for a
Go
long
ahead,
time.
Gary.
Well, so what you're saying, Mike, is the agreement that you've had with this architect firm that you spent, we really haven't spent any money with him. He's been doing this in hopes of getting the job.
Yes.
Okay. And so there's still that money that's left there. And I said way back, Mike Anderson's crew felt that him and his crew could possibly do some of that work. And so that, I think, is one thing I heard out of you earlier, saying we could take a step back and start looking at the way we'd originally thought. You mentioned perhaps the VOTEC could do some work. Perhaps that crew could do some work similar to what Peter was discussing here, how his crew does it. Mike felt that he said we put petitions and that up all the time, his crew. I know in my discussions with you, you felt that, could they really do it? Maybe we need to give them the chance, because I'll tell you, I'm open and honest, and I felt for a while when we started going this route, and people have said to me, you mentioned something earlier, Dave, you know, ask Peter where we are with Elm Street, and I kind of just thought, another one, we put the cart before the horse. We spent a ton of money on engineering, not knowing where we're getting the money to do it. And Chair of the Finance Committee at the time said, well, just go to the people and tell them we need more money. And that's sort of what I get the feeling that Mike is saying, and I think that you're putting the two of them together to try to get Elm Street on the backs of a senior center. That's my feeling, that's what people have said. Oh, they're gonna use the senior center to try to get the money for the senior center and Elm Street at the same time.
Who's they?
And I'm getting the way
Who's they?
constituents, people talk to us.
Yeah, but who are they saying
I'm not
is
gonna
they?
tell you the names of the constituents.
who's
People
the
come,
they?
people come and say that.
No, I understand. Who are they saying?
I
that
guess they would
and
say they,
us?
I would say this board, finance board, and others, yes.
But the two are not related.
Yeah,
And
But
we've
they certainly,
we're already authorized to borrow $1.8 million for Elm Street.
not knowing where we're gonna get it, though.
Well,
We assume that we're gonna borrow it. That's why we did the authorization on the
it's
borrow.
authorized to
At least I
borrow.
have.
It would
Now,
adversely.
listen, you know that at last finance committee around last year, it never even got mentioned, because there was no money in the budget for it. Free cash is down lower than it's ever been, so I don't know where anybody thinks that we're gonna get the money to bond Elm Street.
The only solution would be to debt exclude it.
Okay,
But you're tying.
so that's not the same as us being authorized to do it. You've gotta go back to the townspeople for a debt exclusion. So that's not the same as saying,
Right.
we've got the okay to bond it. We got the okay to bond it within budget, but we ain't got the money in the budget to bond it.
So I don't know how we're tying the two together. I'm still missing the point, but I.
Well, I
you know,
just
for
told you,
the-
if you
the
don't, if you
constituents
don't quite
there-
understand it, that's fine.
I don't.
I said what I said.
I know, your constituents are telling you that, but I can assure you that I wanna get a senior center. I didn't think it was gonna cost this much. I was hoping we could do something more creative here. Elm Street needs to get done. I mean, I'm not sure what else to say. You can tie other things together and make it a conspiracy if you want, but I mean, this stuff has to get done.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I personally, I've never even thought of that. That's the first that's ever come up. I mean, I'm just talking for myself. I never, you know, my top priority for all of this stuff, if we're gonna spend money, I want it spent on the senior center. That's my top priority.
Yeah.
I mean, if Elm Street had to wait another year, it waits another year. If it has to wait 2 more years, it waits 2 more years. The seniors deserve this. The seniors, a lot of seniors supported that school and took the hit.
Based on promises made that the
You know,
school
Doug, you
got
get into
done,
politics
it'd be
now, that's not true.
I heard you say it at a men's breakfast, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay?
Mike, this schedule,
Yeah. So I got up there and said,
Schedule
let's
you have.
vote for the school and you're gonna get a senior center. I never said that.
Well,
I said,
we'll-
I am gonna work
we'll-
very
we'll-
hard to get a senior center. That's what I said from the beginning. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I thought a lot of this board was behind me, but I guess I'm an island by myself.
No, you're
Well,
not.
Tell that to
yeah,
your
you're not
constituents.
an island, but, you know.
I wanna make sure it's right, though. I agree with Gary,
yeah,
to
yeah.
his point.
It
that
should be right.
We've gotta make sure we get together with the committee and see if we can get the cost down. But to walk away and say we can't afford it is
No,
a
I don't
travesty.
think
Absolute
I'm
travesty.
not hearing anybody say walk away with,
Right.
rethink it.
Right, yeah, I agree. If we get the cost down.
I don't-
But if it is a $500,000, it is a $500,000.
Now, I don't wanna rethink it with a debt exclusion.
Well, that's a story for another day. We gotta try to figure out
It
if
is.
that's the case, right?
It is.
That's where we have to get finance involved and everybody else, but, you know, I would hope that this board's gonna support a senior center. I would be really disappointed if that was the case.
I think the board will support a senior center, given, not placing more burden on the taxpayer than's already been placed.
Well, we may not have an option, that's the whole
Oh.
point.
We may have to look at it as, in phases then.
Which I've been saying all along, I completely agree with you, and that's why the 2 other rooms that weren't being, taken for the first, it's part of a phase-in process as well.
Can I
But
make a
like-
suggestion,
like I
Mr. Chairman, to Mike? I think pull out that bond schedule again and start looking at giving us a projected, you know, if we can roll the cost and just making the assumption that it's a $500,000, it is 1.8 million. See how that fits into the schedule and how long that burden will be. An additional burden above and beyond where we are. So if some things fall off, it fills in, if you know what I mean. right? The roll-off. So we should definitely take a good look at that again and put some projection in there to say, if we did a senior center for $500,000 and we did the Elm Street at 1.8 million, at what point in time will old debt come off and really the tax
Basically.
base fund those future
Well,
debts?
we're looking at
I'd like to look at that.
approximately a little over $300,000 a year for $1.8 million for Elm Street.
Okay.
And then another 60. 250's coming off
Okay.
of debt exclusion.
So we're behind by 90.
We'd have to debt exclude both of them.
Right.
And that can be done at the spring town meeting. You can approve the bonding now at fall town meeting and then, but, you know, you're rolling the dice if the voters say no to the debt exclusion. And that will definitely be almost $400,000 off of the operating budget.
Right.
And that would be major cutbacks all around.
Got it.
Question, Mr. Chair?
Sure.
We, recently, I guess it's probably spent, always gets spent. I didn't vote in favor of it, but we did the thing that David pushed for a long time. That was to get the meals tax. And
David's getting blamed for a lot of stuff.
No, David. I mean, I'm thinking, gee whiz, it's
I got
too
the
bad.
new- I got the new guy
David,
hammering me
it's too
over there.
bad we didn't know where that money went, because that money could be paying this without a
that's-
debt exclusion.
right,
I mean, but what
right.
did it do? It just got swallowed up in the budget.
Right.
And when we did it, we was sort of hoping that we could
Aiming towards that,
aim
yeah.
it towards something.
Right.
But it didn't happen, did it?
No.
You can't aim it towards something.
I
you-
understand you can't,
legally,
but,
you
but
can't put it in accounts.
legally, but I mean, yeah, we
Could have
could have
boosted
said,
the
listen,
budget by that. By the
Well,
estimate.
I've never, in the 30 years I've owned my house, I've never had a tax bill lower than the year before. So no matter whether debt falls off, my tax bill's
well, you
not going
probably
down.
did some improvements.
I don't ever remember a year that expenses haven't gone up more than 2.5%.
We know things go up.
It doesn't
So
need
what's the
help.
plan, Mr. Chairman, on this senior center? Where are we going?
So Mike, you heard what we'd like to try to do. I mean, I think we need to just, give us, a little more clarity on the options and what the costs are. If we take this out, take this out, take this out. I think what Gary is suggesting is something that should be worthy of a few phone calls. I guess you should talk to our building inspector to find out if he would even allow, folks coming in from Whittier or any other volunteers to help us. And I don't know, if anyone has any, construction and GCing is not in my wheelhouse, so I have no idea how to.
Do they have a donation account? I'm sorry, you think I'm kidding?
Yeah.
Do they have a donation account?
They do. Friends are.
Friends, yeah.
Does.
Friends of COI, yeah.
Perhaps, Phil, we need to try to set up a meeting with our finance committee also, especially before we get started. And it's right around the corner that we're gonna be starting, correct, Mike? Because I thought you were moving
Yeah,
it
I
ahead
think
a
it's
little
the
bit.
third week of September. It's within the next 2 weeks. And if we're gonna do anything for fall town meeting, the warrant needs to be posted 2 weeks before town meeting. So it's gonna be, and actually because of Columbus Day, if we have it on the 26th, which we're gonna talk about, it has to be posted before Columbus Day weekend, which is like around the 10th of October.
But,
We don't have a lot of time.
To get serious, not throw stones, I mean, we could have some things coming off, like, we had some capital funding that could possibly be coming off. We might be able, if we tighten things up, to find some money in the budget to do this within budget. I mean, I think it'd be admirable of us to put something together of this project this size and do it within budget.
Well, it should help us with a decision also on amortizing the snow and ice deficit as well.
I think we need to bring in, though, the committee.
Yep.
The Council on Aging people, just to kind of go over this design piece. just kinda go over it with them.
Well, that would be Colleen and Ed.
Yeah, bring them in again at our next meeting, just to kinda go over this and say, you know, what's the must-haves, what's, you know, and then look into the other,
Yeah,
like
well,
Gary's suggestions.
We did that with
Did you, already?
with the architect.
Yeah, okay, all right. So I just don't wanna waste people's time. So you think 500's the number?
That's what they're telling me.
Right.
It's just, it seems crazily high to me, but,
Mm-hmm.
Massachusetts.
yeah, and with the construction, you know, you're talking about the, good old prevailing wages too.
Yep.
All right, so we have a course of action?
Yeah, come back with Plan B. C.
Might want D as well.
All right, and then, as Gary said, it would be good for us to get together with the finance committee, so.
Well, they're gonna hear the same thing in 2 weeks. I'll have Plan B by then anyway, so.
Well, maybe we could go to their meeting.
Yeah.
Might wanna go there.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Probably.
All right, we'll try not to kill the messenger, but here we are. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about fall meetings for a second here. So we have, these are regular scheduled meetings, the October 5th, 19th, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
It can be.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
haven't done it yet, so those are
Those are the dates. that we were-
recommendations,
yeah, that
suggestions.
we're looking at.
Okay.
Those work for everybody.
What's today's date? Today's October
31st.
31st.
We have a meeting on,
What's on-
actually on the bottom it says the 21st. We have one on the 14th and then the 21st
14th to 20, oh, busy month. 14th to 21st.
of September.
Okay. All right, so right now, it looks like September 14th, September 24th are our next regular posted meetings. In October, we're looking at October 5th and 19th. When is Columbus Day weekend?
That again, please say 14th.
It's on your, it's the 14th and the 21st of August, of September, sorry.
Losing my mind.
It's 7 days after, it would be the 14th. No, it can't be.
Yeah, Columbus Day
It's
is
the-
the 14th.
It is?
14th.
Oh, wait a minute, no,
No,
I'm sorry.
12th, right?
12th.
12th.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then November 2nd, the 16th and 30th, we'll keep them as is for now, and December 14th. So, as we get up further, we'll look at calendars there. And then our special town meeting is on October 28th,
No, 20,
Is it?
26th,
26th.
26th, sorry. I'm losing-
or
26th.
the 2nd, because we can't have it until till we know what the free cash is.
Well, you guys okay if we push it out to the 2nd? I think we have a
Yeah.
few
Later's
things that we
better,
have
probably.
to make sure that we have enough time for.
Yeah.
So November 2nd? Okay.
And the Board of Selectmen, being the fall schedule, we go back to 7 o'clock?
Yes, we will. Yep, starting our September 14th,
September.
we'll go back to 7 o'clock.
7 or 6:30?
Let's do 7, I'm just gonna have a hard time getting here from
Okay,
6:30 from Waltham.
so starting in September?
Starting September 14th, next meeting, 7 o'clock.
I'm probably gonna need a non-public executive session. No later than that, maybe before it, to discuss the new fire chief's contract.
Before the 14th?
Well, that only allows 2 weeks before the tentative starting date.
Okay, then, you guys around next Monday for an executive session?
That's Labor Day.
Next Monday
Oh.
is the 7th.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
that is
Labor Day. Yeah.
Can't just do it with one.
Maybe we do it the same
Can we
night,
do it- no,
you
14th?
you thought that was pushing it to the 14th?
Well, I mean, the man's committed, but, you know, he
Yeah,
does have some issues he raised with me today that I need to
Okay.
raise with you.
Can we do it today?
Yeah.
Or at least discuss those issues?
I could
not posted.
Right, so, well, it just came up today, so you could do it. I can brief you,
Why don't we do a following the meeting?
yeah, I can brief you.
All right, then let's do that.
Do it
We'll do an
following
executive
meeting.
session. Okay, and then we have the state of the town, which is, what date?
It's on my calendar on my desk.
Crickets, Chair.
It was October, I think, wasn't it?
Let me see if I put it on.
Weren't you doing that in
Was that
December?
that was on a Saturday.
No, it was,
A Monday,
wasn't
I think.
October.
I think it was October, wasn't it?
Really?
No?
I don't remember us talking about a date for October.
That was December,
I thought it was
Maybe.
December we talked about originally.
yeah.
No, because I wanted to do it before budget season, because it doesn't make sense to do it after.
State of the town, I had November 9th.
Okay.
Thank you. And then,
Ninth of October,
November.
of November.
I have, oh no, this was something else.
and then the planning workshop,
That was
October.
November 3rd, no, October.
You asked for
October 3rd.
October 3rd,
Oh, maybe that's what I have.
and I haven't confirmed that with the consultant yet.
So we need to get going on that this week, okay? All right. I'm pushing it on October 3rd here. All right. Okay, so let's see. Before we move on, I do want to, in the middle of this, Chief Beardsley, may I ask you to come up, please? I know we've had a little bit of heavy politics up here in our meeting here tonight, but we wanted to, we want to recognize the fact that you are retiring today.
Thank you.
So, after 82 years of service, we really appreciate, we truly appreciate everything you've done in your career, for yourself, your family, and for your latter part of your career here in Georgetown. I can tell you that it's been a pleasure working with you, for you, beside you, and it's nice to have a beer or a drink with you once in a while too.
Yeah.
So, but you've helped us a lot in town here, and I know how committed. I see you driving around all over town all the time, and all the work that you've done here. The accolades I've got over the years from you and the department that you run in, I wish it was my own business, because I think on a customer satisfaction level, you'd be off the chart. So I do have a proclamation that Stu's going to read here for me, because I can't read anymore.
What, you lose your glasses?
Yeah, so Stu's going to read a proclamation that we've got presented here for you.
Okay. Town of Georgetown proclamation. Whereas Albert B. Beardsley entered service with the Town of Georgetown Fire Department in November 2008 and served for 7 years, has spent almost 49 years in some form of active firefighting duty, and whereas through his dedication in said department, he has held the position as the first full-time fire chief, worked to help establish the town ambulance service, and whereas Albert B. Beardsley has maintained his certification as a Massachusetts emergency medical technician, works as an instructor at the Mass Fire Academy, and whereas Mr. Beardsley has participated in the fire prevention program, inspections of fire safety systems in homes and businesses, inspections of gas stations, storage tanks, numerous open houses and fire department events, and whereas the town of Georgetown is extremely proud of and grateful to Mr. Beardsley and his dedicated service to the town. Now, therefore, we, Philip Trapani, Gary C. Fowler, C. David Surface, Stuart Eggenberg, and Douglas W. Dawes, Selectmen in the town of Georgetown, do hereby call upon all citizens to congratulate Albert B. Beardsley, who has worked so hard to realize such great achievements, in witness thereof.
Thank you.
All right. So, Al, all we have is a piece of paper for you. Congratulations. But we got a few surprises up our sleeves coming up.
No
so-
gold watch, you know what I mean?
Thank you very much, Al. It's been a pleasure.
It has been. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Michael?
Thank you.
Al, is there anything you'd like to say before we
And don't get all teary,
unwillingly
okay?
let you leave here?
Oh,
but-
okay. Look at my time.
Yeah.
It has been great. It's been a wonderful time. It's been a lot of change that the fire department has seen, including the fire service. And it's never been a one-person project. It's always been a team effort. And none of this could have been done without the men and women of the department, you folks, people of the town to make it all happen. And that's what made it happen. And I thank you very, very much, and I thank all the people that are watching this and in the town for their help.
All right, Al.
Addendum to
Well,
the-
we, again, we really appreciate your time and service here. So, I'm gonna ask you to keep sitting in your chair, because we're gonna talk about what's next here for the fire department here. And Deputy Chief Ricker is here too, if you come up as well.
I don't know, unless I didn't.
Do you have the addendum? Okay, yeah. There's an addendum.
Yeah, I thought I put it.
Rusty, how are you, sir?
Well, how are you?
All right. The personnel bylaw thing here. Oh, okay. All right, so, first of all, I wanted to have you both up here because we've got to figure out what we're going to do over the next 30 to 35 days before our new fire chief to be, Chief Mitchell, is going to be coming into Georgetown. And there's, first of all, I know Mike and Al have had a number of conversations regarding some support that Al can give us over that time period. And Al has been so generous to accept to help out in the position as interim fire chief for us. And I've had some conversation with the members on my board who are wanted to just get an understanding of why aren't we just going with the existing deputy fire chiefs that are in the department right now. So I just wanted to kind of open up this conversation. I wanted to make sure that this is, we keep this as a positive conversation, because we've got an incredible outgoing retired chief here moving forward who's willing to help us, and we're so gracious to have that opportunity to have him help if we need it. And we've got a willing and capable fire command already in place there. So I wanted to have this conversation with our town administrator and board to figure out what the best course of avenue is to go forward. So I asked Mike to help me and get his sense on what would be easiest for the working with Mike in the town, and his thoughts on it. So Mike, before we get into a further discussion, you made an appointment for Al Beardsley, and you and I have spoken. And you have given me all the reasons why, first, it makes sense to have Al help us out, and that Al was absolutely willing to help us out. So again, we're appreciative of the fact that you stick on for a little bit before we cut you loose here. Mike, maybe you can just kind of start off your conversations on your appointment.
Yeah, well, based on our new personnel bylaws that were adopted by town meeting, the town administrator, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, shall have the authority to carry out the following functions. And one of them is the appointment and removal of employees. So based on that bylaw, I entered into discussions with Al, and he had always stated his availability to act as interim until the new chief came on board.
Right.
And based on that, I thought it would be in the best interest of the department to keep things as they were,
Sure.
and ask Al to stay on.
That makes perfect sense.
Obviously, you have to confirm that, but Al, with no animosity or anything against Rusty, I just felt for the very reason that he wasn't offered the chief's position was because he couldn't be here all the time. He has a full-time firefighter's job elsewhere. Granted, Al has some teaching commitments that he made because we didn't make the appointment. I didn't make the appointment. I didn't bring it to you before this time. So we're here tonight with Al. Al's official last date is today. Somebody has to be in charge tomorrow.
Right. Okay. Well, I'd like to just open up the board for some dialogue and discussion, and then we can come to make some either nominating the recommended appointment, or we have the authority to nominate whoever we want to, or appoint.
Chair?
Yes.
Chief Beardsley,
Yes.
with your teaching assignments, how many days do you figure you would be away from the community doing teaching?
I wouldn't be away
In a, like a-
yeah, I
that
wouldn't be
one
away
month
the,
time.
the entire day. Some of them are teaching assignments that go to like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So you're done there, be back here like around 3 o'clock, something like that. As I said to Mike, the major thing is making sure, bills get paid, payroll gets done. Those are two of the biggest things. And then just keeping up the day-to-day operations with, the ambulance tracking and things of that nature.
So if you were away doing your teaching assignment, then I would assume that you would leave one of your deputies in your stead? If something came
With
up.
things like that, when I come back, I can get them done.
Well, if something came up in the time that you were gone, then you'd leave that up to one of your deputies to,
It could be. The problem is their level of training and understanding of those tasks that need to be done. They have very minimal.
So, Chief, I remember you were out a while back for one of your injuries for a few weeks, right?
The shoulder, yeah.
Yeah. So, in that time period, did the department had to continue running, right?
It lived.
It lived, right? So I imagine these guys did some of that work to cover for you.
I was coming in off and on, even while I was a couple of days after surgery. I was in the office. That was something that the doctor said 2 weeks, but, fortunately I mended faster.
Okay. All right. So, I kind of have this assumption that if something happened to the leader of any department, there's some folks or folk underneath them that they could actually, continue the operation without it going to pieces. And I guess I need to understand from you, if you left and retired and we had to cut ties with you today and you didn't get to go back tomorrow, would you feel confident that the department would still run and we could get these bills paid and the administration done? I'm hoping the answer is yes, but
On the administration part, it would be difficult. I had mentioned to Mike back in June
yeah.
that the administration side of the fire department has become so complex and so involved that you almost need a 20-hour-a-week person in there just to handle that part of the business. As I was showing, Chief Mitchell has been up on Mondays, and I've been going through different segments of the job with him, and I was trying to go through the ambulance segment of it with him today because it's very involved with the tracking that goes on and to make sure that the recording of the money that comes in, that we have good accounting of it, because then I got to compare it to Mary and Jackie against what they're showing coming in, against what I'm showing coming in, our checks and balance system that we have, as well as the different reports that go along with it, that come in monthly from ComStar, who's our billing agent.
Okay. So, Rusty, from your perspective, help me get confidence that this would still operate with efficiency, and how would you get all that stuff accomplished?
Using the staff that we have now, I think we could reach out to, the in-house staff. That Deputy Moyer has paid some bills over the years when he was out with his shoulder.
Yeah.
and other things. I mean, the ambulance thing, it's a case of working with the folks at town hall and making sure it gets done, working with the chief also.
Mr. Chairman, I've been pretty vocal on this, and this is one thing I will admit that I made the comment, is that I feel that the chief would retire on his retirement date and not have to, come back and help us. Chief was out for an extended period with his shoulder, things ran fine, bills got paid, people got paid. I think we have a command staff, a chain of command in place. We've got 2 deputy chiefs. We've got, I'm assuming, lieutenants and captains underneath them, right? Am I right or wrong, gentlemen? Okay. So you know what? As far as I'm concerned, the chief should be able to retire on his day, and the 2 deputy chiefs and the captains should be able to figure it out. It's a 30-day period. The fire department, from a financial perspective, is not going to collapse in 30 days. I'm sure that we have some intelligent people that can reconcile a checkbook, and we have 1 bank examiner, an FDIC examiner on the staff that could probably pitch in and help for 30 days. So my feeling is the chief should be able to stick to his original schedule. We've got 2 deputy chiefs to handle the duties of the fire department, and if they falter, we've got captains and lieutenants and people underneath them to handle all the aspects of the fire department. It's only for 30 days, and that's how I've said it from the beginning, and that's where I am right now.
Gotcha, okay. Gary or Stu, any comments?
If I may, I'm just trying to understand now what's in front of us, because we started with, you went to this personnel thing from Mike. So, I mean, are we discussing who's gonna be the acting, what do we call it
Interim.
again? The
Interim.
interim fire chief, or are we discussing the personnel policy?
No, I think Mike just provided that to let us know what the process that he followed to get it to an appointment at the table today,
It's not a policy, it's a bylaw.
or bylaw rather.
Yes, but I mean, but it also says upon approval of the Board of Selectmen, so I mean, we could sort of advocate and say, Mike, you figure it out by what I'm reading here. Or we could say, no, we're not gonna give him that approval. So I guess that's what I'm trying to understand. Are we going to make the decision, or are we going to move it to our personnel manager?
So we have to approve any appointment that is given to the personnel manager. So we can make him a recommendation to follow the appointment that we're making. It doesn't matter, we're still, at the end of the day, he's hopefully giving us a recommendation that we're gonna seriously consider taking. So the reason why we're having this discussion is because there's a little bit more to it than just a simple appointment. So I just
I'm not
want to.
really reading it that way. I mean, we could say we wanna take the easy road out by what I'm reading here and say, Mike, you figure it out.
Well,
Am I reading it
still
wrong?
have to
I have figured it out.
He's made his recommendation.
I'm
Gary.
saying, I want to appoint Al, and you basically say yes or no.
Oh, I see. I better understand what I'm reading now. I
And if we
thought,
say no, we have to have an alternative.
okay,
So, Mr.
so we're
Chairman.
discussing the alternative.
We are, and look, and I told Al this earlier. Al, this isn't an indictment of whether you can help us or not. We obviously know you can, and your competency out there. I mean, the question is because of the time commitment for your existing job already, we still have a little bit of agita in terms of, are you going to be able to, to take the department for the 30 days? I will say this, personally, it's 35 days or so. I don't have a problem with it. I hope, and it better be the fact that the department can run when the chief is not able to be around. It may not be perfect, but as Dave said, you guys should be able to handle it. And there's plenty of people that you can probably call to help if you needed help. And I'm sure the chief would even take the call if we needed some advice on something.
So I had a question, Mr. Chairman, to Mike.
Yeah.
From a statutory perspective, do we have to appoint an interim chief, or command staff, we just turn that responsibility for 35 days over to the command staff, which is 2 deputy chiefs?
I think
Statutorily?
I think statutorily, you're supposed to have a fire chief in the position.
You have a strong chiefs, you've adopted the strong chief statute,
Yeah.
so statutorily, yes.
gonna be interim, co-interim chiefs?
Well, it has to be, somebody's gotta be in charge.
Well, I mean, yeah, but see, that's not really true, because when the chief was incapacitated, we had two deputy chiefs that were in charge and ran things. I mean, whether it was Russ or Rusty, that's history.
You know, I had no lack of confidence in the operational part of the department. These guys are professionals, they know their stuff, and I wouldn't dare to get involved on that end of it. I'm merely looking at the administrative end, that the bills get paid and the payroll gets submitted, and, you know, those, it's strictly on an administrative basis. We need an administrator in there to make sure things keep running, and that the new chief isn't faced with a stack of bills and, you know, things like that. He's gonna have enough to handle, you know, coming into a new job. You want the desk clean, and you want everything running administratively. The operational end is gonna take care of themselves. These guys are really good at what they do.
Mr. Chair. Sure. Chief, if you were interim, and during payroll and whatnot, would you be planning on taking the new chief personally through that process while you're doing it?
That's what I've been doing throughout the month of August, with the with the anticipation he was going to be here
Yeah.
at the beginning of September.
Right.
You know, just taking each week when he's been up here, trying to review a segment of the job. We hadn't even touched the payroll side. Today, we spent part of the day working on the ambulance. We had a meeting with Mike. But, you know, there's just been pieces of, bite-sized pieces of the job throughout.
But would you plan on doing that in September? Taking him through payroll and
It
whatnot?
would, well, it would still continue like that.
No, would
yeah.
he be able to visit with you to be able to look over your shoulder about payroll, how payroll operates and how you do it?
Oh, yeah, because that's what I've been showing him, Stu. It has been, you know, where the files are located and how you build them, because that's the biggest thing.
Right. I mean, my point of view, gentlemen, is, I'm with Mike on this. From an administrative point of view, is really where we need to help. I know that we certainly have very capable firefighters and EMTs. And I think it helps if the chief is involved for another month, particularly if he's got the new chief under his wing at that time, learning payroll and the systems and whatnot. And I would encourage any of the deputy chiefs to, you know, shadow him as well, and certainly try and understand that. And, you know, that's not the fun part of the chief's job per se, you know what I mean? The administrative side. So that would be my recommendation.
I thought when this board did away with the personnel board and made Mike the personnel manager, that you all, this was previous to me being here, that you all gave him the authority to do these personnel issues of hiring, et cetera.
With approval.
Yeah, we do. We're the approving body of it. So the answer is yes. I mean, and I think 99% of the time we're going to take his recommendation. We may take his recommendation again tonight, but I'm just, you know, but we still have to talk this through. I mean, Dave brought up a good point to me, you know, regarding we have a fully functional enabling command staff there, and why the hell can't, if we haven't done our job, if we haven't enabled them to take over. I'm not sure how much you can mess up administratively in 30 days, maybe a lot, but I'd like to see these guys actually have to go and do it. And if they have to learn on the job, then they have to learn on the job. I mean, that's just, you know, if there's people to call that you need some help, I'm hoping that, you know, Chief Beardsley would be a phone call away over the next 30 days until Chief Mitchell gets here. I'd like to see I mean, it's only 30 days. You know, if it was 3 months or more, I'd be like, okay, well, now with the, you know, the schedule that you have for your permanent job, but I'm sure, I'm sure the next 30 days can get around it, you know?
How often is the new Chief Mitchell here?
He's been coming up once a week.
Once a week?
Yeah.
So spend a day?
Yeah.
A week?
You think he's gonna continue to do that?
As far as I know, we're
Yeah,
talking
he's-
about next week, today.
So I agree with Phil. I mean, I think it's good experience for the command staff, shows that we have backup, you know. Again, I'm still stuck on the point where if somebody's announced their retirement date, that's the date they should retire. That's the way I feel, and it'd be good experience for the command staff. We have a town accountant, we have Mike, I'm sure they can figure it out. I don't think it's that big of a deal for 30 days.
You make a good point.
And again, Al, we know that you can do the
It's
job.
not you, Al, please. You and I already
We know
talked
you
about
can do
it.
the job.
It's not Al, it's
that.
nothing personal.
We
It's
just
the
have to
way I
make sure
feel
that
about
we're leaving this, and I know you want to make sure you leave the ship in good shape when you get there, and we will ensure, our board and Mike will help to make sure that we do that. And that the transition with Mike coming in, with Fred Mitchell coming in, I've got assurances from your command staff under you that it will be a very solid transition for him coming in. I hate to see, I personally hate to see you go. I'd like to somehow make funny over the next 30 days in town, but I can still do that.
I'm only
Phone
the next
call
town
away.
over.
Next phone call away. Anyhow, all right, well, let's do this. Let's go. I need someone to make a nomination for an appointment for an interim fire chief until October 5th, 2015.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we have co-interim fire chiefs until October 1st. Russ Moya and Rusty Ricker. That's my motion.
Is there a second on the motion? I'll second the motion. Let's open up for discussion.
So that puts the command staff, that motion will put the command staff in charge. From a statutory perspective, if we have to have a chief named because of the bylaw and insurance purposes and everything like that, we have co-chiefs.
My thought comes to mind, does Russ Moyer work full-time?
In a regular job, yeah.
And you work full-time in another job, right?
2 days a week.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that would give, my motion would give the coverage, if Rusty's not here, then Russ is in charge. If Russ is not here, Rusty's in charge. But for a major, for any type of operational incident, and between them, I'm sure they can figure out the paperwork. It gives them both, some
Well,
experience.
does Russ work during the day or night?
He works at his other job during the day.
So he wouldn't be available in normal business hours?
Russ.
Right, Russ Moyer.
No.
And Rusty, you would be available in a normal work week, all right? 3 days of that
And
normal work.
I'm rotating into weekends too, so that would be advantageous that way.
But then Russ would be available on the weekends that you weren't able to. So there could be a time when both you and Russ Moyer weren't available.
Essentially.
But that, wasn't that
That's not unusual to
I mean, that
happen
happens.
anyway.
automatically defaults to a captain, right? We have a captain, or we have a lieutenant? Two captains, right?
Captains,
So there's
lieutenant.
another layer, and then behind them is lieutenants, right?
Well, David, the way operationally they follow the incident command system, whoever is the senior officer on the scene, it could be a lieutenant, it could be, if there was no officers available, who's ever the ranking firefighter. And as a more senior officer arrives at the scene,
Takes over, right?
well, the commander on the scene has the option to turn over to the senior commander. Doesn't have to, as I understand it. But that's, depends on how they have it worked out.
That's in an operational environment, not in
Operational, not
in an
administratively.
Right, so issues of the bills, and I'm sure between Russ and Rusty, they can figure out the bills for 30 days. Just, again, that's why I made my motion.
Yep, Gary, comment, question?
Yeah, some questions, perhaps a comment. I'm glad we're discussing this to the length that we are. But has anyone reached out? Do we know that Russ Moyer is willing to step up to this position?
I have not.
Isn't it already inherent in the position, in the job description, when the chief's not there, deputy chiefs are in charge? Isn't that inherent in the
I mean,
in the
we've
job
got one
description?
individual in front of us, we haven't even asked him if he's willing to step up to this position that I know of.
You're confusing administrative duties with operational duties there. They're two completely separate entities altogether. On the administrative part, there's the budgets, there's the tracking, there's the ambulance, there's the day-to-day operation with bills and you name it along that line. I mean, it's not, you know, it's
Right, I
not
understand.
as
No, I
bite-sized
get it, but
chunking as what
I
you're
think
making
they can
it
work
trying
that
to
out
be.
between them, who wants to take what. I think, you know, they can work that out between them. I just,
Right.
again, it's inherent in the job
Drawing
description that
straws
they
of
step up.
operations
Yeah, who
or
wants to do what? I mean, you know, that's why I say it defaults to them anyway. I just made the motion because of a statutory, you have to have somebody in the position. Otherwise, I would just leave it alone for 30 years.
If I
You know,
may, if I may continue though.
I'm sorry,
Are
Gary.
you willing to step up to this position?
Move the department forward, absolutely.
But we don't know about the other individual because he's not here. But thank you.
Yeah, you gotta go on a, I mean, that's, don't assume, but, you know, think
But,
positive if you're gonna make that vote. Right. All right, any other discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, is the public allowed to ask questions for clarification?
No, we're in the middle of a vote right here, but thanks. Yeah.
Without Russ here, I just don't feel that I can support the motion as presented. I came feeling that we're in the ninth hour again. The man's retiring tonight, and here we are trying to figure out what we're gonna do next. But I did come intending to follow, I guess, Mike's advice once now I understand how it is, feeling that it would be best interest for the department to probably keep on rolling on as it has been. You've brought up some excellent points, the two of you, and I am fully willing to support those points. I also feel that that could work. But I can't, I could support the individual that's in front of us, but I don't know that I could support the two of them because one's not here to answer. So that's
My only
that's
thought,
my
yeah.
reason there. I mean, that's,
My thought was because it's inherent.
if somebody had talked to him and knew that, oh yeah, I talked to him, but that hasn't happened.
Russ, you had a chance to talk to Russ at all?
Not about that, no.
Well, so let's just pretend for a moment the nomination for Rusty here. I'm sure Rusty would delegate the administration to Russ to take a portion of it as well. So whether we do him as co-chiefs or chiefs, I think it's still gonna get done the way that it's gonna get done, one way or the other.
And what about compensation? I mean, do they just go on the, I'm sure there's compensation along with this. Do we leave that up to Mike to figure out?
No, we had a compensation for, plan for Al, right? It was flex time, but he was gonna remain still doing his 40 hours here. We haven't even discussed that with Rusty. And, I don't know why, I just thought the assumption was it was gonna be just his regular call pay and deputy chief pay, but maybe I'm wrong. What do you think, Rusty? Would you be okay just to keep continuing for a month on the call pay that you have, or do we need to have a discussion on that?
I think we need to have a discussion on that. I think if it's set aside for one.
Okay. Well, then we're not prepared to have that conversation tonight, I don't think. That's probably a deeper discussion.
Move the question, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
I will. So all those in favor of the motion on the table to appoint Rusty and Russ, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
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 Any abstained? Abstained. Okay. All right, any other nominations?
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Rusty Moyer to be, Rusty Moyer. It's getting late. I nominate Rusty Ricker to be the interim chief until October 1st, 2015.
Actually, that was a misprint. It should be the 3rd.
October 3rd, excuse me. October 3rd, 2015.
Any seconds on that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Let's open for discussion. I mean, the issue's gonna be around compensation now, we just haven't had that conversation.
If I can make a recommendation, I think the pay should stay the same. The chief's pay should be the same,
Mm-hmm.
same rate.
Right, so whatever was appropriated for Al's position, that's what Rusty would be paid for the month?
That would be my recommendation. Yeah.
Okay with you?
Would you accept that?
Okay.
It's an easier solution.
No.
Okay, so, any further discussion? We have a motion on the table to appoint Rusty Ricker as the interim fire chief, and a compensation plan, as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those say nay.
Nay.
3, 4, 2 against. Rusty, thank you for stepping up. Al, thank you for stepping up. We really, truly appreciate it. You were the easy choice for us. It was with everything that you've done, and thank you again for all that you have done for our community here.
You're welcome.
We
Best of luck to all of you too.
we appreciate it. We've got a few things coming up short in the next few weeks. You'll be in touch. We'll be in touch with you. But
Sounds like there, Penny. Sounds like a threat to me.
all right. Thanks, guys.
So, thanks, guys.
All right. Let's see, we have town administrator report on records management and retention. Let's move forward on that. What's going on with that, Mike?
The project is complete. Came in under budget.
Really?
Plan to use some of the funds for rehabilitating the room even further. We just took all the old shelves out. We got our approval for destruction of the records from the Secretary of State's office. When are they coming, Janet?
Oh, I have to call them.
Okay.
Mary confirmed we had funds to pay.
They're gonna take them off-site and then destroy them. But there's 45, 50 banker boxes full,
Good.
the long ones.
I think we have almost, what do you say, 300 boxes?
Oh, that many?
Yeah.
300. I stand corrected.
Well, he counted some because they were large boxes.
Yeah.
But there's over 200. and
Oh, well,
some-
he didn't count them as banker boxes. He counted them, banker boxes were 2, weren't they?
Some of them were two.
Yeah, they
but
counted
there
the
was
banker
still over
boxes as 2.
200
Yeah.
without counting them as 2.
It was an awful lot. And we've also gotten rid of almost all, but maybe half a dozen of the file cabinets. You've already declared them surplus. We took Peter's men took them to a recycling center and got cash for the metal, and it's going into his donation account.
There you go.
That'll be his seed money. Because they spent, 2 of his guys spent at least 2 days getting them out of the basement. It was quite an undertaking. But when we took the file cabinets against the wall away, the wall is falling in.
Of course.
So, and some of the file cabinets were rusted at the bottom
Yeah.
because of water leaking in.
Yes.
So we had to treat the basement for waterproofing and recondition the wall. So it was a very, very good project. Some of the staff, I think I might have mentioned this at our last meeting. I know Mary got a subpoena for a boatload of information that she had to produce. And they went down to the files and picked it out like that.
Oh, was that easy?
Yeah.
Box number, shelf number.
Nice.
I have
Yeah.
the same system.
Mary is a convert already. It saved her, days of work.
That's great.
So it's already paying dividends. So very pleased with the project, and I think most of the staff, unfortunately, Janet has another new title of record archivist, but
Something else for that hat downstairs.
yeah.
But you've got someone else shoveling the snow now in the winter, so I think that we've freed up some time there for you.
Thanks.
In the winter.
Thank God.
Yeah. So,
That's fantastic.
yeah, that worked out very well.
All right. Anything else, Mike?
No.
All right, we have a few more appointments here. We have a request from Chief Cudmore to appoint Dark Jones as detective with a term to expire 6/30 in 2018. If someone make that motion?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I do. So, with Officer Jones being promoted to detective, will he still maintain the animal control, defense tactics instructor, and firearms instructor?
Oh, I don't know that question. So if he doesn't, someone else will be
I
though.
believe he was going to.
Yeah, the detective
He wasn't changing
is a,
anything.
is a part-time position. They don't do it full-time. I believe that there's 2 detectives and they take shifts.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And so make a motion to reappoint Wallace Rose as sealer of weights and measures to a term to expire 6/30/2016.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Yes, sir.
How are we?
Mr. Chairman, how
Doing
is he
this.
doing, what are
Yeah.
we doing on our weights and measures?
Well, other than missing the annual report to the state, the actual weights and measures are being certified. And I would recommend he stay in that position.
Any other discussion?
Can we get him in here before the end of the year just to see how things are going?
Yeah, actually, it was my mistake, because he came in about 2 weeks ago, because he knew he was originally appointed in September.
Right.
And when he came in, I said, oh, no, you were reappointed in June. And that's why, he wanted to be here, but I told him, I didn't know he was up for reappointment in September.
Yeah, we only did a temporary.
Yeah, but that's why I told him not to come. I said, no, you know, I recommend you be reappointed.
Gotcha, okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. And we have a request from the Historic Commission to appoint Gloria Swanbaum as a full member to fill an unexpired term to 6/30/2016. If we could have a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
A question, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
on appointments and that. A whole bunch of appointments that Chief Beasley had expired tonight. Do we need to put Rusty into those positions?
Oh, yeah.
Was that Don?
Vietnam, she's like these kind.
We got, in our minutes, we've got a good amount of them. I
Yeah,
mean,
he's
he's a
got emergencies.
statewide anti-terrorism unit fed response network, mobile food vendor committee, assistant director emergency management, assistant director FEMA, hazardous materials coordinator. I mean, he had a,
Gonna have to.
does Mike have a feeling on that? I mean, perhaps,
I think we should wait for Fred,
okay. I think we'll be okay.
yes.
For 30 days.
Okay. All right, so anyone have anything else? Anyone in the audience who's been crazy enough to stay all night? Anything? No?
Being a citizen, right,
Sure.
Are we-
informed citizen.
All right.
Yeah, one
Thank
thing.
you.
Really?
I came 10 minutes late. Did you guys discuss the opens the parcel F issue?
No, we spoke with Conservation Com and we decided to hold off on that for a few reasons. Yeah, and I can talk to you offline on that. All right,
Mr. Chair,
so
I
our
have
next meeting, go ahead, Stu.
Just some upcoming things. We've got, Mike, what was it, 17th, September
19th.
19th? Denison, Camp Denison, is that a Saturday?
Hot dogs and then that.
The hot dogs, and then a volunteer,
And afterwards,
a volunteer soiree at Camp Denison,
Yeah.
September 19th or 17th?
Everybody is notified via
Email.
email.
I haven't heard back from
You haven't heard from anybody? Okay.
the asked for RSVP.
Yeah, so it's Saturday the 19th, okay. So just so everybody knows.
I was the only one that responded. Yes, I'll be there.
No, I'll be doing hot dogs.
Oh,
We're gonna do hot dogs, yeah, we're
I'll be
coming
there for
back.
that, but I can't go to the
The
volunteer
volunteer
thing
appreciation
afterwards.
night.
Yeah, because
Can you-
Cam's 50th reunion is that
Can you
night.
send me an email list? I'd like to personally invite them as well. On behalf of the board, if you guys are
Yeah,
okay
yeah,
with that.
that'd be great, yeah.
Just in the
Now,
morning.
what is the time for that, the start time on that Camp
That's at
Denison?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock? For the volunteer appreciation.
Oh, no, for the Camp Denison one with the hot dog.
11.
What time's that start?
11 o'clock.
11, thank
If you could print that for me, Janet.
The,
Camp Dennison one, I got the other one.
oh, I don't think I have the Camp
Oh, okay. Oh, they just stopped in and, okay.
Denison. No, they must have emailed.
Because it's a,
separate.
oh,
We actually got a letter from them, I think, like 3 or 4 meetings ago.
I'll look.
thanks.
Oh, yeah, as far as asking us to do the hot dogs again? Yeah, they had requested it.
Yeah, we got that request a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It may
so
have
it's
been,
in
it may
there.
have been
Long
email.
time ago.
is
It's in
what
the,
she
it's in
said.
there.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
So just so everybody knows, open house at Camp Denison 19th, and then anybody that's volunteered for anything in town is welcome to join the potluck dinner on that Saturday evening at 5 o'clock over at Camp Denison, and
So it's the same date.
same day.
Yeah, we figured it's
It's already open, we
it's
got
already
some
open,
things going.
we're there. Hopefully some of the people will come down who are volunteers as well, so. Okay. So, yeah, we need to get that out, publicize that a little bit more, because it's not just town employees and boards, and these are previous boards and stuff like
Oh, yeah,
that, too,
yeah.
that we want to come down. And anyone in the general public that wants to support it. I guess we just have to be careful how many people show up, right? We'll have to,
The whole town show up.
sorry, we need 822 more pizzas, please.
Yeah, right.
But, okay, so
I'm gonna
we
follow
should,
up with
I need to
Mr.
talk to you
Lacy.
guys what we want to do that night.
Yeah, I gotta
okay?
follow up with Mr. Lacy on it.
Yeah, and we gotta put some sort of a plan together.
Yep.
All right, anyone else? We're all good? Okay, so we're going to, so I gotta conclude this meeting and we gotta go into an executive session. So, I'm gonna take a recess from here to go into executive session when we will not be coming back for a general meeting for the purposes of unforeseen negotiation discussions.
Do we need the roll call now or downstairs?
Well, you can take the roll call vote to go into non-public session.
Mr. Fowler?
Fowler, yes.
Surface, yes.
Yay.
Eggenberg, yes.
Yes. Okay. So we're not coming back to general session, and we are going to executive session. Have a great evening and a great week, everyone. Thanks.
Hey, Janet.